few calls were made because obviously it was a last-minute decision and they were scrapping to try and
guys,
find...
did you happen to watch Caleb Clarke on the weekend? You haven't played Test footy for 4 years. You beep, beep,
Yeah. I was asked like through the week by someone, Drew, if you can tackle Caleb Clarke, you've got a jersey. I said, mate, did you see my career? Like, you're asking the wrong guy.
Great to have you with us for another episode of the Aussie Rugby Show, brought to you by ExtraHop. Stops breaches 84% faster. I'm Louise Ransom, joined as always by these three gentlemen: Drew Mitchell, Stephen Hoyle, Sean Maloney.
Love the official welcome. Don't you guys
Always.
love having your full name said? Like we're at the airport, remember those days? Paging Stephen Hoyles.
Sean is notorious for, don't worry, we're in the business class lounge. They have to come and tell you personally. They don't come and tell you personally.
I just liked hearing my name over the loudspeaker at the airport.
and I like watching Sean run to the passenger gate. Oh.
In his thongs.
In thongs. I also love being here, back at Eastern Suburbs. How good. The Beasties hosting us again. We've been the good luck charm this year, ahead of a number of games. Last week we were at Eastwood. Eastwood beat East in the finals last weekend. Maybe today East will beat Gordon.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm comfortable helping East win a semi-final. They're going well though, top four.
I don't mind the Beasties. I think
You're probably on the books here.
I might change allegiance and just maybe brush the wicks.
Okay. Wouldn't surprise me.
No, I wouldn't do that.
They'll need to do better than they did on the weekend against the Woodies, though. Not a good way to sort of go into the final four hit out in the Shoot Shield. Let's talk about what happened on the weekend. What got you guys?
Drew. Well, what got me was a fair bit of chafe, to be honest. I did a cycle for 6 hours around Eastern Creek Raceway for Endure for Your Cure, the children's cancer charity. 6 hours around the lap of Eastern
Race
Creek.
bike or mountain bike?
Race bike. Adam Ashley Cooper as well. He joined us and
They're proper Lycra cycles.
That's
now.
Yeah.
6 hours.
6 hours. Look, to be honest, I didn't go the full 6. I was sort of more like half hour on, half hour off. Just joined the back of the peloton. But geez, it was. I mean,
You're getting massages in between, though. I saw the Insta.
You're getting rolfed in between.
Yeah.
That's nice.
the massage didn't help the Graham Gooch. So, look, that's what got me.
You know what got me? It was actually your backline wines.
Oh, yeah?
Your
What
Fleetwood
was it?
Mac impersonation.
Sorry?
Backline wines.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to say that twice. Well done.
Yeah, no, thanks for that.
The Fleetwood Mac, but what got me out of that, the clip that it's been going viral, everyone's
been going
skateboarding.
really well, yeah.
Matt Giddo can't skateboard, Drew. That's what got me. Has he learned to skateboard in the short period of time?
Look, it's hard to say. But he went down to Lake Burley Griffith. He got his nephew's skateboard and went to try and practice because I do the social stuff. So I said, boys, this week, this is what I need you to do.
Yep.
And he went down. He said, mate, I can't skate. I can't skate. And he reckons about maybe 5 attempts in, someone drove past and started beeping, going, "Nice skateboard, gits." And so he may or may not have been in the back of a ute.
Okay, getting towed.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Look good. Do you know what got me last weekend? It was the most bizarre turn of events. I moved into a new house. I'm in the backyard. Chicken rolls in. Just a chicken starts walking through the backyard. I'm like, where'd you come from?
Did he answer?
He's hanging out. I'm like, what's going on here? This is a true story.
And you live right, you're on the coast.
Chickens just cruising around. I'm like,
why did you cross the road?
And then I'm thinking, my mate Porto
lost
2 chickens about 8 weeks back, lives 2 suburbs over. One got eviscerated by a cat, and there was just a pile of feathers, and the other one's legged it. And I've messaged him, I said, Porto, is this your chicken in my
Porto
backyard?
or Porto?
Just Porto.
I'm confused with the
because
chicken
of the
thing.
Porto
Yeah,
chicken thing.
yeah.
You wouldn't believe it. It's Porto's chicken.
I had the collar on, didn't it?
It spent 6 weeks on just out there, just doing its thing on the mean streets of DY, and it's still kicking, and it's still in my backyard.
You're right.
Those Northern Beaches street chickens, you got to look after them, don't you?
Lou, what got you?
Shoot Shield on the weekend. Really close results across the Saturday and Sunday. Sydney Uni champions for the last couple of years, not in the final 4.
Yeah, real shame.
You don't seem too genuine about that.
Oh, look, it just shows you how good the competition is. I
Yeah.
think the 3 games that were played on the weekend,
Most open shoot shield
It was,
competition I can remember.
total of the highest point margin was 3 points in those 3 games. So every game went down to the wire, and it's been really close.
So we've got East and Gordon this weekend, and Eastwood taking on North. Really quickly, pick for that.
East are a good chance against Gordon. Gordon have lost some players, and they were my pick early on, but they've lost some players. I'll go an upset. I'll go East, and I'll also go North. I think we'll have an East-North final.
And just ticking off on Hospital Cup in Brisbane, Bond
Yeah.
Uni
Yeah.
have given themselves a shot at the big dance.
So they get the week
UQ. No, they'll play East this week for a chance to play UQ.
The heavies are in the
big
grand
one.
final.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So go Bond Uni. The Bull Sharks, great name for a team.
The Royals beat the Gungahlin Eagles.
Yeah,
we
in
saw
the
that.
Cup as well.
Yep.
So wrapping up.
There's your wrap.
Bledisloe 2, Rocks and Diamonds didn't go the way of the Wallabies on the weekend, of course, but let's talk through it all. Diamonds, we like the sparkly things,
Yeah,
as
we do.
always on this show. What do you got?
It's hard to go past Caleb Clarke's first start. I mean, he was absolutely ridiculous. Tackle busts. Every time he got the ball, he just did something. Something happened. He bounced off players. He was bouncing players off. He was embarrassing players. And then went off just before the end at 80 minutes and got a standing ovation. He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
Standing ovation at Eden Park. Like, there's not too many better starting debuts that you can have than what he had in the weekend, I thought.
Yeah, and so Sean, you've called Caleb Clarke over many years in the Sevens circuit. You probably weren't that surprised.
No, I wasn't, but he was. I mean, he was always great playing with the All Black Sevens, but he was never that dominant, if that makes sense. But he becomes now one of a host of guys who've gone through that as an induction into that gateway into an All Black jersey. Obviously, he's killed it with the Blues and that kind of thing too. But my God, he was unbelievable.
I think in some ways, maybe 15 suits him better because there's more, like there's less
More
space
people to
for
run
him, right?
into,
More
yeah.
people because that's the strength of his game, bouncing off players, attracting someone else, getting an offload, really sort of having them honeypot towards him. Because you saw that when he made that kick return try, I mean that run through the counter attack. All the Wallabies honeypotted towards that ruck and then they shift and then Artie Xavier scores in the corner. So whereas in sevens he's got so much space to work with.
I can't remember the last time I saw a standing ovation at a test match either.
Normally for someone playing the last test, you rarely see it for their first. I think he's been
Really
really,
for a winger as well.
in your case, yeah. I think he's been really well managed. It's a really good example of how they get their pathways right over there. We saw him in the sevens around 17, 18, then they let him go to Super Rugby. He played the Brisbane Tens in 2018. They kind of let him go to Super Rugby. They brought him back. He even played a few tournaments last season. Yeah, I think they've held him back and made sure he's ready. And boy, he's ready. So, yeah, impressive. Look, my diamond was actually Ned Hannigan. I thought for a guy who, we all see the backlash that he cops when he gets selected. He probably was a guy that got more opportunities at test level early in his career when he may not have been at the level he is now. But he certainly, I was confident throughout the week that he was going to play well. I thought he had his best Super Rugby this year. It's just almost because he hasn't played Wallabies for 12 months, people have just assumed he won't play Wallabies again. But I thought he had a really strong game and probably silenced a few of the critics.
How good to see him dig in and have a crack and, like you say, put some of that negative chat to the side. I like seeing that from Ned.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he was good. A bigger body, another guy at the line-out, option at the line-out as well. I mean, he started the year pretty, in tough circumstances with the concussion at the start. He's obviously got over that and has worked his way and just stuck at his craft and got himself a jersey and then performed.
And the worst bit is he's off to Japan, so the Tars lose him when he's probably going to play his best years.
Starts peaking.
Yeah.
Speaking about peaking, the pace of that game through the early stages was just berserk. How good was it? That was my diamond from the weekend.
Day game footy.
Day game footy.
Good conditions.
Mad crowd, great conditions. And both of them. I know that might have led to part of the rot where the Wallabies sort of couldn't match it over a full 80 minutes of gameplay against them. But just seeing the pace of that game early on, it was frantic. It was so good to watch.
Well, I don't think the pace of it was got the Wallabies. It was more the tactics of kicking the ball to the likes of Caleb Clarke. That hurt him, and it was only a small period. What was your rock, Sean?
Rock was how badly it turned south and how quickly it went south.
Yeah.
And there was a pivotal moment, the Rock, the attempted reach out and put down from BPA. Maybe got a little bit hungry for the try.
Yeah.
Could have just taken a moment. Then I think the All Blacks scored at the other end, on the other side of that. That was kind of where the game was lost.
Yeah, well, my rock is the 40 missed tackles, and that's...
That was my rock.
Oh, was it? Well, we can talk about it. Did we? Sorry, I stole your rock.
40 missed tackles.
Yeah, look, my theory on it is, against the likes of Caleb Clarke and some of these, and Artie Xaviers of the world, the guys that are going to really work hard to bust tackles and have footwork, strength, power, sometimes you just have to know you're up against someone who is physically better than you and you need to make a tackle as opposed to trying to pull off a hit. There's a big difference there.
Yep.
You don't always need to pull off a hit. And I saw so many times we're flying up trying to smash these blokes. And I get the anger and the intensity of test match footy and stuff like that, and you want to make a mark. But a tackle's better than a missed tackle. You don't always have to pull off a shot. And a lot of our missed tackles we were flying up trying to really, really whack them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my rock was, again, just not being able to back up a good performance. Like, too many times, the Wallabies, and, we've been involved in those teams where we have a good game, we start to listen to the press a little bit, we start to pat ourselves on the back a little bit, get a little bit ahead of ourselves, perhaps, and then go out and... Because mean, the performance was there, the intent was there, everything was great. It's just the intensity was different. Like straight up from the haka, the kapara pango, you knew from the one that they chose to do to the, in front of the Wallabies, you knew straight away the All Blacks were going to be up for it. So more than anything that they needed to match, or if not go, parity, or if not better, was intensity. And we just weren't right. And going on that line speed, and I just think Filippo's Ungunu, I just think they need to say, look, against a guy like Caleb Clarke, your sole job, even if it's against the structure of their defensive line, to say every time he's going to get the ball, you're right in his face. Because there was too many times where he got the ball with too much space, and once he winds up, like it's, like it doesn't matter who's in front of him, you're going to get bumped. At least one player, we talk about players that can always break the first tackle. He's probably always breaking 3 tackles. That's the form that he's in. So it's just about sort of cutting down their space, but. I think it, like what you were saying, was shooting out. Like it was just, it seemed a bit sort of disjointed on the weekend, and the intensity wasn't there. And that's the disappointing thing for me, is because they did so well in that department last week in Wellington, and then we were just sort of off the mark there this week.
Well, speaking about defence, ExtraHop have a new segment for us this week. Sean, talk us through
It's the
it.
ExtraHop Play of the Week. Okay, now I'm going to need to step you both through this. So we know how ExtraHop's about stopping breaches. It's about shutting down threats that get through that first line of defence. So obviously on the weekend, Caleb Clarke, on that searing run back from the kick receipt, beats about 18 Wallabies defenders. You follow me? He's like a cyber attacker, right?
He's like the threat. He's the breach.
He's breached. He's breached him. He's threatened.
They're going to stop Caleb
He's
Clarke.
got through. They've got to stop Caleb Clarke. And you know who the man is?
Who
jags it?
Who does it 84% quicker?
Now you're working with him real nice. Who does it for the Wallabies and does it for ExtraHop in some ways? Nick White grasses Caleb Clarke. One of the few guys at the weekend to grasp and nail Caleb Clarke, and he is our ExtraHop Player of the Week award winner.
Well done, Sean.
Yeah, it was good. We got there.
Thanks for that, Sean. Let's look ahead to Bledisloe 3 now. Guys.
Why so official again? Well, thank you for that, Sean. I quite enjoyed that little bit.
Very Mike Monroe over, isn't it?
What's next?
What do we got?
Bledisloe 3, shall we?
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
Let's do it.
We're going again,
Can't
are we?
wait.
We are. What are you guys thinking? Where are we headed to now?
They're in Sydney next
ANZ,
week, aren't they? Yeah.
What needs to be fixed?
Well, we spoke about the tackling, the one-on-one tackling. That's the biggest fix.
I would go with Simone.
Yeah, wow.
I know there's a lot of talk about shifting James O'Connor to 12 and Noel Alessio starting at 10, or Parsami going one further in and Patea starting at 13, or Reece Hodge. Like there's options, but all of those options are playing players out of position. Like, we're having a hard enough time beating the All Blacks with everyone in their preferred position. We can't expect players to go out there in their non-preferred position and then get a win over them. Like, we need to... Ire's, for a number of seasons now, he's played his way into a position in contention. He's earned the right. He's a ball-playing 12, but it can also get you advantage line. I think he's earned the right. And for me, it's not necessarily about getting your best 15 players on the field in whatever sort of formation possible. It's about getting the best players in the right positions, and Ire's a 12, so play him at 12.
Do you think there's any value in a Samu Karevi coming back? I would love to. The reason I say Samu is because if you keep James at 10, you put Samu at 12, you put Patea at 13. Those guys have spent a lot of time together over the last couple of years at
Does
the
he
Reds
make
and
the
Wallabies.
cut-off for quarantine, though?
That's what I don't know about. I'm no
we're
COVID
not-
expert, Sean.
I know you're not.
Yeah.
9 days from kick-off, I don't think we'd be able to get him back in time.
I think you were just trying to grab a headline there.
Oh, you think I'm trying to clickbait it?
No, but I saw that on the weekend straight away. As soon as Timur got injured, people were sort of throwing Karevi's name up there.
But unless he's already on the way back, it's probably not likely.
Because they're not playing for months in Japan, are they? They're not playing until December, January?
Giddo's played a fair bit of 12 in his time.
Oh, there we go.
Can you imagine
but
Harley Quinn?
What do we want to see in terms of tactics if they got it wrong on the weekend, in terms of just what they were doing against the All Blacks? What do you want to see in Bled 3?
They only got it wrong by a few small moments. You just cannot sporadically kick in Test rugby to the wrong person. If you're going to put up a kick because you feel as though you're under pressure and you're the very last person, that's dire straits. That's what happened against Caleb Clarke. He caught the ball. You've got to kick so accurately. I think you've got to be in control when you do it. So it's amazing what'll work in a test match when you don't miss 40 tackles and you don't miss 21 of them in the first half. That really unsettled them.
That kick to Caleb Clarke, you look at it, the forward players were in front, almost looking to play that. And he only had Hunter Paisami in a wing outside with probably half a field. Probably not getting too much chat. That needed to be contestable or longer. It's sort of a bit in between. You give that guy space and time. We saw what he did, but I thought they did a lot of what they did was was good. They just, again, they created opportunities like they did in the first game, but they just didn't execute. They didn't take advantage in the first 20 minutes of the opportunities they were creating, which meant that they weren't putting scoreboard pressure, and then New Zealand get an opportunity, they score. So I think keep doing more of what they're doing, but we just need to get better at converting.
Yeah, probably a little bit more patience down the other end of the field as well. That was exemplified by the driving maul. You know, we probably had it if they waited a phase or two, but yeah, like there is no miracle formula to beat the All Blacks, Lou. Like the thing is, you just cannot make the mistakes you get away with at Super Rugby.
Even the Marika one held up by Bridge. I mean, that was a superb try-saving tackle from Morgan to get underneath him, but so close to forcing it.
Just back to personnel, is there anyone you're bringing back in from the first game that didn't get that opportunity in the second game?
I still don't think we're settled on a hooker, purely because of the line-out inconsistencies. So I think that Brendan Payne-Ramosa's got to go. I thought he was good around the park. Folau got the go the week before. Jordi Luisi's had a little go. So again, I don't think they're going to be fixed on that. And Dave Rennie spoke in post-game about, someone asked him what fixes that, and he said, well, selection does help. So he's given the intention that he'll make some changes somewhere.
I used to hate, when you... You know that you haven't played your best game, and the coach says something that kind of maybe infers to you a little bit.
I'm gone. I'm done.
Shit. Yeah. And you're like, you go into the Bay Marie or whatever at Emil's, you're like, "G'day, Dave." You're trying to cuddle up to him a little bit, just so it makes it a little bit harder for him to say no to you.
Around the world in 80 seconds, our social segment, which we've come to love. Sean, what's doing this week?
Do you want me to do the honours? Just careful, you touch
I can't touch that. Happily pass that over.
Must use gloves.
I'm mad for a Rolf. Now let's Rolf our way through this team. First up, I'm going to take you into the Wallabies headquarters. This is going to be Big Pone trying to sneak up on Taniela Tupou. Thinks I've got him. He's asleep. Little does he know, right behind
the double play.
You got to get up early. You got to get out of bed real early to get past Taniela Tupou.
Because Taniela's sleeping in his tent.
Speaking of, he stepped out of the tent to greet some of his fans over in Auckland. How good this Hana Paisami fan signs.
Was he at school in Auckland?
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the prodigy began, basically. But that's such a nice touch. And guys, Tana Mung, whenever he pops up with a couple of debutants, you feel good.
One's his cousin, though.
Yeah.
Or is he the uncle?
Amazing.
Mungie Jensen.
Uncle, yeah.
Uncle,
Champions Cup. This is a way for us to touch on DD as well. Exeter getting the cash there. And, of course, that lovely shot. Post-game, Finn Russell, Stu Hogg. They'll be back together with Scotland real soon. I love that. And finally, these are the players missing from the Wallabies at the moment. And there are some very good ones sinking in to a little bit of yucky
There's a fair bit of deep fried dang in that.
Sucker. And finally, this made me vomit first thing Monday morning when I saw it. Matt Kiddo was Harley Quinn. He looked so much like her.
There has never been a player that put more time into his Mad Monday after than Matt Kiddo. It's remarkable, hey?
Is that the worst part?
Actually, I don't think I want to look at those shots.
He's married, 3 kids.
Who is that, by the way?
Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. So
he's done well on that.
So it's a silly Sunday. He was thrown a little bit because normally it's Mad Monday because the boys had to go to work. They had to go to silly Sunday. At 10 a.m. start, he's thrown off by that. 10 a.m. start.
I'm sure we wouldn't have struggled.
Well, he was never he went hard in the dress-ups, but he was always asleep pretty early.
That is around the world in 80 seconds. Done and dusted.
Big stories. South Africa out of the Rugby Championship. Broke towards the end of last week, guys, but still ramifications, plenty to talk about in the South Africa pulling out of the tournament. Firstly, Hoylesy, what did you make of their decision not to come to Australia?
Look, I think they've done in what they believe is the best thing for South Africa or for the Springboks. They're very underdone. That's their approach. I think there's a legacy they're trying to uphold. They are the #1 team or the world champions, so they don't want to come out here underdone and underperform. I think there's probably financial decisions they've looked at. From all reports, they've got a decent cut out of this no matter what. There was an even split I read somewhere today. 130 million rand is what they received.
So it was a COVID sort of agreement they all decided on, that because they didn't know where everyone's country was going to be within COVID-19, if they got this tournament together, everyone would take the even split out of the sort of broadcast rights and the money made from it. Yeah,
look, I assume it's very hard to judge or be critical until you really know what's been going on in their country, and their country's been in pretty bad state from a COVID point of view for a long time. So their preparation was way behind the Aussies, and people will say, but the Argentinians are the same. The Argentinians, they've got a complete different angle. They're a nation that are trying to get as many tests as possible. They're trying to build their time in test footy and play against the top 4 or the Southern Hemisphere nation. So I don't think you can be critical. I almost admire the fact that they've done what they think is what's best for South African rugby. Again, I'm stoked that Australian rugby is playing, but I always seem to think that we seem to be the nation that seems to be doing what's best for everyone else. I don't know.
Well, I just think we're in a position where we can play.
Yeah.
Right? Like we can, New Zealand can. South Africa, their country, haven't necessarily had they're not in the position that we are with COVID and all of that, and same as Argentina. But I just think that there's so much chat always about player welfare and players' welfare not being put at the first and foremost. Now it actually is, and now people are still questioning it.
Is it player welfare or team ranking welfare?
Well, I mean, if I hadn't played a game all year and been training like in isolation, I wouldn't be ready to face the All Blacks or the Wallabies or Argentina. So in that case, it's player welfare. So you're not match fit, you're not match hardened. You'll get there's every chance I'll get soft tissue injuries and all sorts of things that you get by being conditioned to play. So from an outsider's point of view, it would seem to me at least there's a big portion of it being player welfare. There could be. That's not saying that it's not 100% player welfare and nothing to do with rankings or finance.
A combo
or whatever.
of them.
But I think a big portion of their decisions come down to the player welfare and the lack of training together, play time, match fitness.
Logistically, it was just going to be too much. To have a full-strength team down here this time of the year with what's creeping up in the Prem up there, with all their players based over there, or a large part of them up there doing their thing, it just was... We've spoken about this a number of times. I think we're always in agreement that it would be too much for it to happen, and it's proven to be
And
that.
it dragged on a bit, though. I felt like it dragged on because they could have made a decision earlier, and then it did get logistically too tricky. You're looking at the dates and the quarantine weeks and thinking,
Maybe that was
this is
the
all
better
too
play.
hard.
Yeah. Perhaps they were just trying to hang on as long as they can to actually try and make it work, and then it didn't work out. I know that some people have flagged the idea of sending out a development team, but that's not a test team. Like a test match is you earn the jersey, you earn the right. Otherwise, it's like you're cheapening the jersey. So I'm happy with their decision. Of course, I'd like to see them out here, like 100%. The Rugby Championship, 4 teams, double headers every weekend. Like I would have loved that.
Heaven.
But at the same time, you've got to respect them making the hard decision.
The worst part on the other side of it is that we didn't have enough time to bring an all-star team together, which would have been a whole lot of fun. I had you in there as forwards coach. You were head of recreation.
Yeah.
You had no real official duty.
I was just getting the boys up.
You were media managing. I had you all lined up with that, and we were going to have some fun.
No, but there was
What were you going to do?
Just drive the bus. Get on the bus, gang. Where do you want to go? Back to Rob's.
Our
Let's do it.
team mascot, the little chicken.
Yeah.
But there was actually phone calls made to some players.
Yes, they did try and get...
I know Harley Quinn got a call through the week and just said, if there's a chance of us getting this all-star team together.
Your phone was off?
No, I went to the top of the mountain. I was like, looking like this, but no one was calling. But
even as recently as this week just gone?
this week, a few calls were made because obviously it was a last-minute decision and they were scrapping to try and
guys,
find...
did you happen to watch Caleb Clarke on the weekend? You haven't played Test footy for 4 years yet. Beep, beep.
Yeah. I was asked through the week by someone, Drew, if you can tackle Caleb Clarke, you've got a jersey. I said, mate, did you see my career? You're asking the wrong guy. I couldn't even tackle half of Caleb Clarke, let alone the full man.
Well, guys, speaking of Caleb Clarke, that has triggered this week's Random Rugby moment to be Caleb Clarke. And Lou's actually got the clip.
Here we go.
From the captain's run. Check this out. Bang.
Oh.
He's launched that Gilbert 60 on the fly. That is insane. That's Aaron Rodgers.
And without too much effort, really, to be fair.
That was a fast throw, wasn't it?
How does that rate with Craig Cooper's, fancy skills we see?
Distance.
Yeah.
He's got him for length by a long way, I would suggest. Now
we're getting
going to look at
X-rated.
Jonah
What about his throw,
Lomu.
Sean?
I want to see. There's been some comparisons made to Jonah Lomu after that barnstorming debut. I'm going to take you to Hong Kong. Watch Jonah Lomu doing it in a game. This is, look at that.
Lefty as well.
Both lefties,
Both lefty, bang, he's sent it 40, 50, and they score on the other side through Cullen.
Yeah, wow.
That's a great little double up. And then you've got a clip to throw on top
Well,
of what we've got
I saw
happening.
something. It was pretty nifty. Someone called Crime Stoppers just after the All Blacks game, All Blacks Wallabies game, said, "Look, I've just seen someone run over a bunch of tourists."
It was very good.
And they said, "Did you get a number of
License plate.
like a number of registration?" And he said, "Yes, 11." Because that's how devastating he was. It was almost like he was just ploughing through a crowd of people, and unfortunately, we were those people.
I think we rename this just to the Caleb Clarke Show.
Why
This
not?
week, yeah.
Aussie Rugby Show mailbag time. We're going to dive into some Twitter questions this week. We didn't get to them last week. Big Will, big fan of the show. If I could, I would literally plant Caleb Clarke in the ground and grow a whole field of Caleb Clarkes. Caleb Clarke is our star of the show this week. Which player would you plant a field of?
Great question. Oh. So it's your all-time 15 up against someone else's all-time 15. George Smith 15.
Yeah, I was
beats
gonna
everyone.
say
That's what I say.
George Smith used to play with him, didn't you?
Apparently. George Smith 15.
Couple of times.
Yeah.
George Smith 15. John Logan 15. I'm so excited by the thought of it.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Both Tongans.
Boys?
Yeah.
I don't know
Smith's
if I
hard
can
to
go
beat.
past George Smith.
Go on,
Yeah,
give it a go.
No, he's so versatile. Like he could, he could play hooker, he could play halfback, he could play.
Coach the team.
Yeah, he would
run
be as
water,
big as a prop soon.
Massage
Yeah.
us. Massage the other Smiths.
Yeah.
Smith
Yeah,
on
I'm
Smith.
going
roll
George
thing.
Smith.
Okay,
Yeah.
you going?
No, that's it.
Okay, George Smith wins. Dean Mum, former Waratah and Wallaby, of course. He says, "Hey Lou, I'd love to hear all of you name the person who, over your time, has had the most ordinary rig in a team.
yes.
Must name names. You could always nominate them from the Cauliflower Club calendar as well, which Sean, you and I were on the judging panel
Yeah,
for
we're
that, which we're really
judging.
excited about.
You start. Most
Oh,
ordinary rig
I-
you've seen, because you would have seen some footy players and
I have.
thought, geez, he's a bit
No,
ordinary.
I'm saving my thoughts for
the actual judging.
Yeah, I
I'm
I'm
can't,
going to go
I can't give it
combination.
away.
I'm going to go combination. So I'm going to go Matt Dunning's chin. Because the thing about Matt Dunning, he had phenomenal
So
legs.
Specific,
you
yeah.
put some thought into
I'm
this.
just-
Like a Frankenstein.
Tucky had phenomenal legs, good
Okay.
shaped body. It was just
Yeah,
his chin that
yeah,
made people
okay.
think that he was overweight.
Yeah.
I'm going to tuck his chin, Dean Mum's arms, and my legs.
Whose hairline?
Yours. It's about as bad as it
Put
gets.
yourself up to
I
that.
don't know if I should engage in this because it sounds a little bit like glass houses, but I'd say
that
maybe
bad.
Sayafanga.
Yeah?
He was a bit custom.
Jeez, he had good hair though.
And
Yeah.
the thing that really made you know that it was custom was his identical twin
Was
with
ripped.
body
Yeah.
rips.
Yeah.
So Mummy's doing that for charity through the Cauliflower Club.
Hold on.
Can't wait to see
Name
how that
names,
goes
mate.
on.
Names. You're not offensive here, Sean. Slaying someone off.
I don't know. I mean, there's plenty. That's such a hard one to be thrown on the spot around.
Say George Smith again.
No. Actually, I can say George Smith. Not a known trainer, not shredded. Smith.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Okay. Instagram question, shall we? If you could bring in any Wallaby from history and put them in this team, who would you pick? That's from
Is that Doggo?
NVL Potter. No.
thought that was
NVL
Doggo
Potter.
from Dublin.
No. That's next one. We're
Gotcha.
waiting for that.
Gotcha.
Who are you going with?
What was the question?
Any Wallaby to
help.
bring back to help this current side?
Focus.
Willio.
Focus.
Oh,
Willio.
actually, no. Wait, is it for
To
this
help-
current
yes,
side?
to help the current
So it's for the
side.
game against the All Blacks 9 days from now.
Yeah.
It kills me to say this. It actually hurts me because Matt Tamula's injured. I go Tim Horan. And it kills me to say it.
He was very good.
He was an unbelievable player.
That's a good shout,
great
actually.
guy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't need any
Tom
more
Horan or
stoking.
Tim Horan?
Both.
Post-game Tom Horan.
Both have wonderful attributes, but Tim Horan was a phenomenal player. If Tamula's out, then Horan at 12.
So
My God.
Tom Horan's the after
Post-game,
dark.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not touch
I
on
would
that.
go. I'll go Mark Ella.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
think someone who just, we know he was very gifted and unstructured and just played a style of footy that, in a way, sort of changed the way the game was played.
I might go someone up front, John Heels. Bring back
yeah?
John,
Okay.
leadership.
Would he be goal
line
kicking?
out. I'd probably hand him the ball on the tee at some
Yeah.
point.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Bring
You,
Heelsy
Louise?
Can I also say Matt Burke? My mum happy?
back. Just your mum?
Loves Matt Burke. Loves Matt Burke. Guys, Dublin Doggos,
Yep.
this next question. I think he's asked a question before on the show. Who
Big fan.
Who is a rugby player with the weirdest or most unusual skill?
Oh. You got anyone, Drew?
I think, I don't know if it's weird, but I was surprised by it. Back in 2007, we had a pre-World Cup camp in Portugal.
Yeah.
And, we had a little day trip out to the beach, and Adam Ashley Cooper climbed up this cliff that...
It's above 10 metres, it has to be.
more than
Yeah.
10. It was higher than anything I'd probably jump off.
Rocky and Sharpie got halfway up and pin dropped off it, and we're like, look at us,
Yeah.
look at us. They pin dropped, then
And Adam
Cooper
just
kept
stood
climbing.
up the top, and with his back facing the water, just like hands out, and just went, and just did this like perfectly timed foot entry, like I was pretty.
The more I hear
impressed.
about the build-up to the 2007 World Cup campaign, the more I'm beginning to understand why it ended in absolute tears.
We went on a deep sea fishing trip, and George Smith caught something in the fishing net.
I remember that.
He was chasing people around the catamaran with this fishing net.
That same trip, Adam Ashley Cooper, we were in a recovery after one game and we were underwater sort of swimming competition. I think someone got close to 50 metres. Adam, 3 laps of the 25-metre pool underwater, just went bang, 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 just like that. So I'll also mention a hidden talent, I suppose, was Chris Whittaker was a very good surfer. So his brother Tom ended up being a top 5 surfer on the world circuit, and Chris was probably the better footy player as a kid, and the other brother Ben was probably the better footy player, and Chris sort of somehow stuck in between.
Strong.
Challenging family. That's MAILBAG done for this week. Show done for this week too. That's it.
Oh, I was also a very good snowboarder. I just sort of throw that in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, given that we fund essentially every trip you make to either Perisher or just
You better be bloody good.
you'd want to be pretty handy at it. And that your entire Aussie
Anyway,
Sevens
the show's over,
coaching career was centred on getting you to the mountains of Vancouver and
I've
Whistler.
heard that a lot.
That makes a lot
We
of
made
sense.
the final that tournament.
You did.
It worked.
Sean, Halsey, Drew, thanks so much.
Thanks,
Thanks for your
Lou.
company for this episode of the Aussie Rugby Show. We'll see you next time.
I've got a chicken to look after.